I hope you all are refreshed. I ended up getting some nice Cola O, so very good off-brand Coke Zero. I much like Derek, I appreciate Coke Zero above. I'll drink Diet Coke, but I like Coke Zero more.
Yeah, well, I mean, because it's normal Coke, but with just no sugar, instead of like the sweetener that they put in Diet.
Yeah, diet equivalent.
Aspartane's aspartane, but it works.
Well, I mean, yeah, your guys' variant does.
All right, so what we're gonna do? Let's close up. You're all seen in the desert. You're on board this.
Yep.
Oh, all right. We have Norallie, so yeah, we'll make it quick. I mean, if you all want to give some sort of Aussie white girl, welcome. Cheers to you. Thank you for joining. But yeah, if you all want to give a quip or just sort of point us in a direction, second star on the right, keep going till morning, that's fine. And then we're going to head south to find out what Norallie and Bright are going to be up to. So yep. What are your all's what's your last words in action for this session?
Mordecai is healing.
Okay.
And trying to maintain the engine so it doesn't fall apart.
That's you're probably gonna have to go and do that soon. Selter probably has a big old just shit-eating grin on her face as she's piloting, but the ship might actually fall apart.
Yeah, though every time that that fifth engine, right, that wants to rattle out of place, it starts rattling a little bit too much, it just kind of glares at it, and it just straightens out.
Yeah, every once in a while it kind of spits out a bunch of sparks, kind of, you know, because you have 4.5 engines, that one half engine is throwing out a bunch of sparks and whatnot. Kind of reminds you of Bright.
I miss chicken nugget.
As a point of order, do I still have that harmonica? Or can I find one now?
That's a good question.
Asked for it back.
That's true. Because sure, I'll tell you what, because Celine was a good girl and reported the drunk people. The one guy was too busy trying to get the other crew back that he never came to ask you for the harmonica.
Then I am going to cast mending because that requires material components and start fixing things.
Oh, wonderful.
And so Mordecai is going to do some maintenance. What's Celine doing on the ship?
Celine, well, for every helmsman, you need a navigator. So, it'll be just a mixture of dealing with some healing. Probably not at the moment, but it will be in a little bit, and using my wisdom to try and guide us south towards Mesamaska, I suppose.
Okay, and Captain Selter, what are you doing?
I'm flying. I'm actually flying. Looks towards the engine that's rattling. Stops rattling. Actually enjoying flight.
Very good. So we have a content Dragonborn here, at the helm of your ruined but mostly somewhat maybe kind of functional airship, and
so we have a helmsman, we have a navigator, and we have an engineer. Maybe the doctor can be the medical officer and the caster can be the science officer.
We'll see.
Mordecai is definitely learning everything he can about the thing.
And so then what we'll do is, so you're still alive, you're limping along through the sky, and we will now fade out from the skies over the desert of Aslandia, and now travel to the Mask of Horns, which is going to be a lot different as we are terrestrial. We are inside of a large city back in Mesamaska. Pardon. The weather is quite temperate. little chilly. Gray sky, kind of like what you see here. Oppressive people, not oppressive, but a press of people all around. And of course, Norallie and Bright, you know the rules. This is a large city, and you are in Mesomaska. So,
We have to put on our stupid masks.
yes, you do. You got to put on your stupid masks.
I have
What
extra
if the
masks
people
if
in
you
the
don't like yours.
picture are wearing their masks?
Yes, that is true.
Well, I mean, that guy there, he's wearing a mask.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. Well, I still have the same mask from before. You know, my little orc mask. Although on me it probably looks more like a goblin, but still, it's an orc mask.
Okay, yep. And Noralie's mask, it looks like what again?
It's not paying attention yet.
I was gonna say, darn it, I don't have my props next to me today. the one time you actually called for the mask.
Well, yeah, y'all haven't been to a big city in a while.
Yeah.
I can't hear Norallie. Is
Oh?
she? Her voice working?
I can hear her, yeah.
It might be
hear
on
her.
your end.
I'll try reconnecting. Maybe that'll help.
Okay. While Bright is doing that, Norallie, can you describe your mask?
Yeah. Let me just pull up a picture so I can describe it accurately.
Ah. I do remember Bright's orc mask, and that is fantastic.
Okay, they're all wearing masks now. I'm happier.
All right.
Alright, Marla has a white top half face mask with blue lines and like sparkly gold intricate designs and a little bit of silver in the middle.
Okay. So you're walking into the city here. You put your masks on. You're getting notifications along the road. You know, like in 1 mile, please have your mask ready. You know, in a half a mile, make sure you have your masks on. And there's a couple roadside vendors and such that are even selling, you know, just kind of different masks. You know, most of them are kind of the cheapo, like, I forgot my mask, and
Yeah, but
I
the
gotta.
markup is really high. It's like buying peanuts right at the baseball park, you know, or the little bottles of water that's on sale right outside. They're like $4 each. I mean, 4 gold pieces each. Nobody wants to pay that.
So you go by the vendors, and I mean, you have your own. Here's the city of Mask of Horns is open to you. There's no one stopping you. It's not like there's a big traffic jam and they're checking your papers. This is one of the largest cities in all of Mesomaska. You can find a great many people, places, things, wonders, danger.
As a note, I have a map of this city.
Oh,
Gotcha.
well, that'll come in pretty handy because I've never been here before, and I don't know where to go.
I live here.
Oh,
Not just a map, but you know the shortcuts. You have an improved map.
okay. So I'm gonna let you take us places. So do you have? So I know that I've wanted to meet Dulles here, and I mean it's kind of the reason that I came to Mesomaska. Although other things have intervened, and I'm not even sure that I need to meet him anymore. But so that's my thing. And I know you want to find your brother, and you also talked about meeting up with Mr. Halvor, and I don't know where to find any of those people. So maybe you. Are they marked on your map? Is there like an X that says brother?
No, it'd be easy to find him if he was. I do have it marked where me, Mr. Halvor, and my brother usually stay, but sometimes that moves. But we can go to the last place we stayed.
Okay, so and it's weird that this hasn't come up before. I guess I never appreciated that you actually lived here before. But so if you're from here, have you ever heard of Dulles of the Blue Flame?
No, I don't think I have.
Okay, that's not a good sign. I was hoping people would know who he is. Somebody that people, well, know who he is.
I mean, it's a pretty big city, and I don't know everyone. But, like, Mr. Halver might know someone, or my brother knows a lot of people, so if we find him, he might know.
Okay, and Mr. Halver was your magic teacher.
Yes.
So, yeah. So I think maybe we should find him first, and maybe he can help us find your brother.
Yeah, as long as they're not still fighting.
Oh. Oh, what were they fighting over? Was there drama? I don't like drama.
My brother didn't like that Mr. Halver couldn't teach him magic as fast as he taught me. Yeah, that's why he left.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
See, I knew there'd be problems when you found him.
It's that intuition.
And now I know why. So, okay. Well, I guess we still have to find them. So, do you have a place to stay? Do you have a family house we could stay at without having to pay?
Not a house per se. More of a hut that's tiny.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't take up much space, so maybe we could stay there. But yeah. Is there room for Brayson?
Yeah, there should be. You
Hey.
could, like, I mean, we don't have that many people over, but Mr. Haver said we could fit like
Okay.
9 people if we could.
Oh. Oh, it's that kind of tiny hut.
Yeah.
Brayson won't fit in that.
Oni?
It's that kind of tiny hut.
Yeah, Brayson would have to stay outside.
That's okay.
Okay. Well, why don't we find places? I mean, I'll kind of let you take us places. But I'm gonna be kind of looking around because I don't trust necessarily. I mean, it's not like I'm afraid or anything. I just don't necessarily trust the people here yet.
Okay. Alright. My map. Alright, we were here last. Okay, it's this way.
Mhm.
Just as a note, don't bump into people unless you want something from them.
Usually people are more likely to bump into me because they kind of look over the top of me. So sometimes I do up my floofs so that they stick up instead of down, and that makes me a little more visible. But I'm not ready for that right now.
You can sit on Brayson if you want. I have to lead him around anyways.
I mean, it's kind of uncomfortable. I think I'll just walk, but I'll try not to. I mean, people will see you in Brayson, so it'll be okay.
Yeah. Just stick close by. It's hard to lose people. I mean, you stand out because you're very colorful and bright.
That's me.
Oh, bright. You're very colorful, so you're easy to spot, but you're also small, so it's harder.
It kind of averages out.
Yeah, it equals out.
You're average to spot.
Okay. Okay. Well, all the same, I think I'll just kind of walk behind you and with Brayson and just, so that people don't step on me.
Yeah, that should work.
Okay. And then I have other things I can do if it gets to be a problem.
Okay. So you're beginning your trek through the city. Now you're going directly to where Mr. Halver stays, or are you wanting to take any side trips or do some sightseeing?
Probably the fastest route to Mr. Halver.
Sure. Well, due to your unique upbringing, you are very capable of traversing the city.
Mm-hmm.
There's there's crowds all around, especially on the fringes and when you get to some more of the popular places, which you're going to have to cut through a few. And Bright, there's going to be a couple times where Norallie is going to be taking you down some tight alleyways for Brayson. You and Norallie, because Norallie is she's not small as in the size category, but she's definitely a slight girl, and so she can kind of deftly go through the alleyways. But some of them are clogged with garbage or worse. Very, very not hygienic in some parts of the city here. But you're able to kind of squeeze through a couple times. Like Brayson just kind of gets wedged in an alley and kind of and it echoes through.
If you see someone sitting down, walk around them, not over their legs.
Yeah, well,
Just so you
that's
know.
just the only polite thing to do.
Yeah.
They're taking
If
up
you're
the
in a
whole
hurry,
alley,
jump
in
on.
which case they should move. That's the polite thing to do.
There
There are a
are
lot of weird social conventions in this city. I mean, not like they're unusual, just odd that they're worth mentioning. Like they're just things you'd normally do anyway. So I'm worried about what happens if like you don't do them.
Well, I tripped over someone once, so
Yeah.
well,
Okay.
more than once, but
Okay.
you if you trip, you definitely don't want to fall face first into some of the puddles here in the alleyways. So you're scampering your way through. Definitely some prestidigitation is going to need to be in order to unmuculate your boots or your dress. Hopefully I said that correctly in Gnomish.
It's pretty close, yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to work on my Gnomish.
I think it's demuculate.
Oh, demuculate. Okay, not unmuculate. Gotcha. I'll do my best to try to remember that. So you make your way through, and you're gonna have to cut through a commercial plaza as you're now entering the central part of the city. And much like you see in the illustration here, I mean, there are towers that rise up. You don't smell the sea because there's just such a press of other people. You are smelling a lot of different things. Norallie, you probably have some good memories cutting through here. Maybe you're even kind of doing it subconsciously because the food that some of these restaurants in this area prepares just absolutely makes your stomach wish that it could be fed. And how many nights did you have that delight of, oh wow, I could really imagine myself eating food, especially that food, but food in general would be kind of cool. And Norallie, this would be more standard to you. Bright, this I don't know, might change your opinion a little bit, but as you're going through this nicer to do market area, you are seeing tieflings, and the city is majority tiefling. The western part of Mesomaska is majority tiefling in population, and the things that they wear are bright, are almost to an extent maybe gaudy or just interesting fashion choices. Some have different like sleeves for their tails, or some of them will walk with their tail kind of worn up, and they'll put like a little clasp around the end of their tail that will go to a chain that extends between their two horns, and so that they're walking kind of like with kind of like how cats or some dogs will walk around, with their tail up, and it's kind of held on this like very fine jewelry that's forming like a triangle above their heads. Some have very puffy, like one puffy sleeve, and then kind of a spotted sleeve coming down. Just a cacophony of colors and cuts and fashions, jewelry of different styles, and with the way that tieflings can modify their eyes through their innate thaumaturgy, you are also seeing some very unique eye patterns that are being worn almost kind of like what we would call decorative contact lenses among the people who are wearing these very interesting tiefling fashions. Some with sort of rectangular goat pupils, others that have multiple pupils, or some that will make their eyes look like human eyes, or will even make their eyes almost have like a nice bright like gnomish colors, because gnomes have very beautiful eyes.
They have. Do any of them have cuttlefish eyes? Those are my favorite kind.
Oh yeah, I bet you could. I bet you could find some cuttlefish eyes, that kind of sideways hourglass eyes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So I always thought Mordecai was kind of a flamboyant dresser, but um, it turns out he's not. It's it's weird that people dress like this and then they all have to cover their faces. I don't understand. That custom just doesn't make sense to me. I guess it encourages you to express yourself through the way you dress instead of the way you look. So I mean, maybe people are on a more equal footing because, sometimes some people are really pretty and other people are not so pretty. And um, this way, at least when you're out and about, everybody looks pretty much the same, and it's all about how you dress. So you just kind of get to pick what you want to be. So I can appreciate that. That's actually a lot like the way we do things. So I can see how it works.
You're going past some shops. In fact, there's a shop that features some beautiful wooden jewelry from Ucht. And then of course you're going by a very fancy Uchten fusion restaurant. And so you're getting some nice gnomish influence in the cooking there.
Interesting. We'll here when we have time. I know you ran out of food this morning, so are you getting hungry? We could stop here now, or we could go looking for.
I'm probably okay for the moment.
Okay. Looking for Mr. Halvor, but this is a place where you should draw an X on your map in case we want to come back here. It smells good.
Okay.
All right, and Norallie, you know this market pretty well. There's plenty of employment opportunities. A couple other kids that were kind of like you ended up finding, they ended up getting a bunch of part-time jobs from the rich people. So they'd always come home with some loose change in their hands. Things like that. Very, above board stuff, clearly. And so you cut through the marketplace, and you're approaching. You are approaching the seaside portion of the city. We're talking. This is a big city, so it's not like it's been a half hour. You've been walking even through your shortcuts, and a couple of the shortcuts they haven't changed drastically, but like an alleyway could be closed. Pardon, something along those lines. But you find your way towards an area that appears to be under construction or destruction or a little bit of both. As there's a lot of buildings that... Oh, pardon me, jeez. You think drinking soda kind of makes you a little burpy or something. That's dumb. Anyway. A couple buildings are coming down. Some of their own accord and others probably because they're actually just being destroyed. There are a couple newer buildings here, but Mr. Halvor is in this area because there's so many people who pass through to the different districts, and of course it's very easy to find a place to put your hut in an area like this where there's plenty of materials to hide under, to build with, or to kind of camouflage yourself in the bricks and the mud and the beams and everything that are here.
So, what of a part of town is this?
This would be kind of an abandoned part of town. It's by the docks, but there's nothing really super close that would be like a bad part of town or an industrial part of town. This is just an old, worn down part that's mostly abandoned. And so some buildings have fallen on their own accord or are being destroyed. There does look to be some like rehabilitation efforts going on a couple buildings closer to the seaside. But really there's no shops, there's no one living here, at least not in a permanent basis. You are seeing some people, right, that would be, wanderers or vagrants. Couple people with like little fires and stuff, kind of hiding out in a couple areas. But it doesn't, I don't know, you're not getting that feel like this is Crime Alley behind the nice, the nice theater in Gotham kind of a thing. It's just abandoned or falling down.
That was really bad urban planning, as it turned out.
Is the voice
this is
that
the
green
part of-
tiefling with the broken horn? Because my brother says he cheats at cards.
Okay, well, I'll teach him how to play some gnomish games. That'll be fun. But so this is, see, this is why we don't like to build big cities, because whenever you build a big city, this sort of thing happens. You get these places where people are poor and nobody can help them, and I mean, even if you try, it doesn't really work. And when you keep things smaller, it doesn't happen. It's very sad. This is a weird place for a magic tutor. I guess if you're trying to lay low, you could be here.
Well, he's not. I mean, he did teach me magic, but that's not like what he does normally. I guess, because he doesn't teach anyone else. He just kind of taught
well-
me.
That was like he was like your private tutor. Is that not how it was?
No, he's not a private tutor. He took care of us.
Oh, okay. So he was like your nanny and also your tutor.
Well, kinda, but no one paid him to do it.
Oh. I don't understand that. Why did he do it?
Well, you know, he just would say that he felt it was right to do, so that's what he did.
Well, your family could have paid him. That would have been better.
Well, they couldn't have paid him.
What?
They couldn't have paid him because they weren't around at the time.
I thought you had more money. I thought your family was all together and I guess I had the wrong story.
Yeah, no, they're not here anymore.
Norallie, is that you? Norallie! You look over to a pile of rubble. It looks like the tiefling with one horn has seen you and is standing up.
Cast mage armor.
Hi.
What are you doing back? I haven't seen you in a little while.
Yeah, I was looking for my brother. Have you seen him? I know he doesn't like to play cards with you anymore, but...
Yeah, well, that's just because he's scared of my skills.
Yeah, that's probably why.
Nah, can't say I saw him around. Well, at least not while I was there. I went out for a bit of a walk, and from what I understand, he went to your all's old stomping grounds. I don't know how long he stayed. When I got back, I just saw that a couple things had changed. Where we all used to be. He kind of looks over to Bright, looks back at you, Norallie. Where you used to live.
Oh, okay. Have you seen Mr. Halver? Or would he be there too?
Yeah, he's probably back where you last left him.
Yeah, he does.
I imagine that, and he seems kind of, because he's like scratching his head, and he's kind of, even though he doesn't have his pupils in right now, he kind of has shifty eyes right now. I kind of imagine, I mean, if your brother would visit him, let's say that, well, hypothetically, I know that there was, maybe a little bit of resentment or some bad things between your brother and Mr. Halver.
Yeah, they've gotten a big fight about everything.
Yeah, that might have happened again. I don't know. I wasn't there, so don't ask me.
Oh, that wouldn't be good. Well,
No, it wasn't. I mean, it probably wouldn't be if it happened.
yeah. Well, thanks for letting us know. We're gonna have to go check it out then.
Yeah, well, is you here to see anyone else? Are you looking for, I mean, you can always play a game of cards with me if you want to. I mean, don't listen to the rumors.
Oh, I would, but but I really should find my brother. I'll ask him if he wants to play with you again.
Yeah, well, yeah, good luck.
So, do you know any gnomish card games?
Gnomish, I don't know if I do. I mean, I heard of them, but I ain't never played no gnomish card games.
I mean, I mean, it makes sense because gnomish games are pretty hard. They might be too hard for you. You need to be pretty smart to play gnomish games.
I reckon I'd have to see one played out and then determine if I could understand it better.
Well, why don't I show you? Do you have a deck of cards?
Oh, do I have a deck of cards? Norallie, do I have a deck of cards?
Of course you do.
Of course, you hear the woman? Of course I do. Aren't you? Yeah, you're a smart girl, Norallie.
Okay, well, so gnomish cards are a little different, but they're not too different. So the name of this game is called Fizzbin. Have you ever heard of that?
Fizzbin? No, can't say that I ever heard of that.
Yeah. Well, here, let me have the cards. Okay, thanks. So it's not too hard. So Norallie, you've played. Come on, sit down.
Have I?
Yeah, of course you have. We played it on the way here. So each player gets 6 cards, except for the player on the dealer's right, who gets 7. And now the second card is turned up, except on Tuesdays.
On Tuesdays, huh?
Yeah, right.
Well, that's weird.
Well, yeah. Now look what you've got. You've got 2 jacks. You've got half a Fizzbin already.
That's good, right?
Well, sort of. I mean, if you get another jack, then you'd have a snalk.
A snalk?
Yeah, and then you'd be out of the hand. So what you need is a king and a deuce, except at night, of course. And that's when you need a queen and a 4.
When does night start? Like, technically when the sun sets?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now look at that. Oh, look, now you've got a 7. How lucky you are. How wonderful. If you'd gotten another jack, you would have been out. But then if you'd gotten a 4, well then you'd get another card. Except when it's dark, then you'd have to give it back.
Oh, okay. I think I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah, right. So what you're after is a royal Fizzbin. But the odds of getting a royal Fizzbin are just... Norallie, what are the odds of getting a royal Fizzbin?
I think you said 1 out of 73.
Oh, no, that's the odds of a straight Fizzbin.
Oh, darn it.
Anyway, the odds are really high. Anyway, now for the last card. You turn it over. Okay, so now you've got a 6. That's called a cronk. Do you understand?
I understand a cronk.
Okay.
6 is a very cronkish number.
Okay, now, look, I dropped a card on the floor.
Hang on. I'll get that for you. And he maintains eye contact with you, but he snakes his tail over, and the tail sets the card on the slab you're playing on.
You do know this game, don't you?
Well, you know.
See, that's the part in the game where you bend over and then I steal your wallet.
You see, I'm familiar with that game. I may not be familiar with Fizzbin or whatever you call it, but I can tell a fellow player when I'm sitting across from one.
Okay, well, this has been a lot of fun. Here, have a silver piece on me.
Oh, well, the pleasure's all mine, I assure you.
Okay. Norallie, you want to keep going?
Yeah. We should play some Fizzbin later, though.
Yeah, of course. It's a lot of fun.
All right, Norallie, sweetie. You go have fun, and hopefully nothing bad happened.
I hope so.
All right, well, yeah, good luck. I'll just be, I'll be over here. And he watches you two. He watches you two continue to wander through the kind of the abandoned part here. And and yeah, you know, Bright, your observation is correct. That this is very much the opposite of Uct. I mean, obviously, people aren't living in trees that continually to grow or repair themselves. And even the wood that's used here, I mean, it's already dead wood, and it just gets even deader and broken and soggy. And so you continue to go through this area, and Norallie, you get to the the ruined foundation of what once was a warehouse. And there's a partial basement. A lot of it's filled in with brick and rubble. There's still a couple walls here and there. In the memories. Again, not like you haven't been here for a very long time. Not that you're even very old yourself, but just you're talking about your brother and just the games that you'd play. Like tag or hide and seek or just what's in that rich person's pocket. Just all sorts of games that you used to play together. And sure enough, there's an area that stands out as home, at least when it was put up every evening.
Alright. They might be in there. Might.
Do we need to scout around first, or is it safe to go in, or is there like a special knock on the door? How does it work?
Okay. Well, it's a special knock. So you gotta knock with both hands twice, and then with your tail one. You don't have a tail. You can probably just kick. I'll do it.
Okay, I'll let you do the knocking.
Okay. You knock on the door, such as it exists. Because if we're talking about a certain tiny hut here, it's just going to be kind of a grayish dome that you're knocking on. However, in response, you do get and a door opens up inside this thing, and there's Mr. Halver.
Mr. Halver.
Norallie. Oh, it's fantastic to see you again.
I know, it's been a while. It's been like 2 months, maybe.
Yeah, I was very concerned for you. I knew that you were going after your brother.
Yeah, have you seen him? Because we heard that he was coming back.
And make little fireworks.
Oh, pew, pew, pew. Oh, and I see that you've brought a friend with you.
Oh, yes, this is Bright. He's one of the friends I made. We made others, but they kind of vanished at the moment, so we decided.
Really worried about them. Right now, it's just us.
Yeah. Oh, I found. I got a donkey now and a chicken and this thing.
Oh yes, well you always were one to collect things.
Oh, and Yuri has wings.
People and animals.
Yeah.
Well, yes. You could please leave your animals. He looks down at you, Bright. His eyes keep darting to you. He's talking with Norallie, and his eyes just kind of do continually regard you. And he's a little fidgety. He's not sweating or anything, but yeah, I believe that our stable is around back by the wall. And if you want to go put your donkey in our stable, then perhaps we can arrange for you two to also enter the house. I have some tidying up that I'll have to do. And he looks to you, Bright, and in impeccable gnomish, greets you and excuses himself before shutting the door to the dome.
I didn't realize you knew Gnomish.
That most people don't. So, and his gnomish was pretty good. I mean,
Yeah, my
usually
Gnomish isn't that good. I've been practicing.
there's a special greeting, and the greeting is kind of interesting. It's kind of idiomatic because you use the past tumble tense when normally you'd use the present tumble tense, and it's just, I mean, and he knew that. Very few non-native speakers get that right. So anyway, that's
I'll try to remember.
yeah. So let's put Brayson away. He said he had a stable, but I don't think it's a real stable. He probably
it's
just
not
has a
real.
hook that we can tie him to, and hopefully no one will run off with him while we're there. So,
Well, it's kind of inside the warehouse. I mean, there's a wall missing, but like, you just put a board up.
yeah.
People usually don't come in.
Yeah, well, let's do that.
Okay, so you make your way through the gray sky. There's kind of a distant rumble. Things are getting... It's cool, getting kind of humid. And it's pretty well, as Norallie has said. The stable is just kind of an open-ish area that is secure-ish. And there's a place for people to live-ish, including animals. And so, yeah,
Okay.
you can tie Brayson off on a kind of a ruined piece of whatever.
Yeah, this will be fine-ish. I'm gonna, well, I think we should take our valuables with us. And I mean, I know Brayson is valuable, but I think things like golden crowns would tend to disappear here. I think we should take all those things with us.
Okay. See. Oh, Brayson had rations. Oh, here's where all the food went.
The donkey had it the whole time.
I see that you're just as organized as ever.
At least it's not on Brayson's thing that he has the crowns.
Oh.
Did he actually have them, or did the individuals have them?
The
crowns specifically.
I think
crowns, I think they're supposed to be on Brayson.
didn't Jade held on to hers though, if I recall.
Derek said that Jade had one of
Yeah.
them, so one of them is probably lost at the tree, and I think we should go back for it at some point. But
The one she gave to Mordecai would be there.
and if I had one, I probably would have been letting Brayson carry it. So I think Brayson probably has two.
Okay,
Um,
two crowns.
Two of the three.
Alright. We'll just take all the bags off.
Okay, yeah, that'll be fine.
He can.
Can drag the pack saddle in. I'm too small to lift it. It'd be like, I mean, I could conjure up Betty to help move it, but that would take 10.
I mean, I have to take everything off him, so it'll probably take that
Yeah.
long.
Okay, well, and he's tidying up anyway, so by the time we finish that, he should probably be done.
Okay, so you're gonna conjure your unseen servant?
Oh, I think we're just gonna do it all manually.
Oh, okay. Manual labor when you can cast magic. Very well. So you
10 minutes of magic isn't much harder. I mean, isn't much easier.
We can mage hand at least. Get it down to the...
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so you tie off and you get your things off of the donkey. Are you leaving Mordecluck in the fantastic birdcage up here?
Well, he's got a fantastic bird cage, so I don't think Mr. Halver will mind if we bring him in.
And what about Herbert?
And the fantastic bird cage is one of those things that might disappear if we left it here. It's pretty nice.
Well, you know, Herbert's just a plant, so he's not going to make a mess. So, he'll be fine.
And Yori?
Well, he always lets you. Plus, Yori usually stays in my clothes, even with his wings.
Okay. So, leaving the donkey behind but carrying everything else, you reapproach the dome, and you knock once more with your tail, the last one. Opens back up. Oh, yes. Come on. Everything's good. Everything's fine. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, probably not.
Now I'm worried.
But please don't be.
Well, he said not to worry.
Yes.
No, that's why I'm worried.
Everything has already been taken care of.
I'm just gonna walk in.
Yep. You walk in. You got the chicken and you got the plant and everything. Now the plant's not going off if that means anything. So.
I mean, so he's not a vampire. That's something. Well, can I roll an insight to see like why he's acting so shifty?
Yeah, you certainly may. Um, he is appearing very flustered. Not necessarily like shady, shifty, but he seems to be very nervous, maybe a little embarrassed or something.
Okay, okay. So he's more afraid of us than we are of him. Okay, I'll go in.
Generally, yeah, that's a good way to
Okay,
interpret it.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, so you descend down some stairs.
This is a pretty nice tiny hut. Usually they don't have stairs.
And you turn and descend another set of stairs. And then you reach another set of stairs that go up. No, it's right this way. We have to go up the stairs.
I like the nice down and then back up touch. That's. Did you? I mean, your gnomish is very good, and this is the way rock gnomes would build a dwelling. Have you with rock gnomes?
My dear, I can't lie to you. And he just continues walking up the stairs.
This is an interesting fellow. Okay.
And when you reach the top of the stairs, it's actually it is a door that is sitting, that would be like the ceiling. So the stairs are coming up, and then the door is sitting here. All right, this will this can feel a little weird. All I ask is that you just continue, just walk, and I'll show you. And he opens the door, and he walks through the door, and he doesn't vanish, but he just sort of like whoop, and continues walking.
Okay. Yeah, we had a door like this at the wizard school. It was created. Somebody created this as their, well, not necessarily this one, but created one like this as their master's work in conjuration. It was kind of fun. We like to play pranks by throwing things through it and watching them change direction. People would get hit by them and they wouldn't know where they came from. It was fun.
Yes, you can ask Norallie all about that. You hear?
There's eggs and water balloons and things. Yeah.
If only it was contained to that.
I mean,
Didn't
I
we get
used
that
eggs
one
and water
time?
balloons. Maybe some other people used other things that weren't as nice.
Okay, this process is a little weird. Don't worry about it. Herbert, this might feel weird. I don't know your plant. But don't worry about it. I got you guys. And
Okay.
I'll walk up as well.
Yep. Norallie, you're walking up the stairs, and as you walk, just whoop, and you're walking through a door almost as if you've just been walking on the ground the entire time. And Bright, you've done this before at wizard school. Might have been a little bit, but
Yeah, it's ordinary. I mean, it's not ordinary, but I've done it before.
all right, and you do the same. You walk through, and whoop, it's just like you're walking through a normal doorway, just as your position and your gravity completely changes. All right. Well, yes,
That's
yes.
what they always say in conjuration school. You have to think fourth dimensionally. I was never really that fourth dimensional.
Well, yes. You have to have
Only
a
take up
certain
3
mind.
dimensions.
I've had to study a great many things. You see, in all my years, I've picked up a knick-knack of magic here and there. I've also picked up a bit on the lingo. I hope that my gnomish was satisfactory for you.
That was wonderful. You speak very, very well.
Thank you. And yes, I'm sorry. Please, let's continue on. And you're walking down a hallway with several doors, and he stops, looks inside one. Not yet. Closes the door. Norallie, let's see. Your room. Which one was your room?
It was the one that was 3 left and 2 right.
Was that my left or your left?
My left.
Yeah, we have to remember that since that one time. Okay. Now you're all you're walking the same direction down the hallway. while he's asking this. And sure enough, you... I think this is the right one. Opens it up, and you all end up... you're back in the warehouse, but there's some walls that you can kind of see through. And, pardon, hang on a moment. And he concentrates, and he makes a couple hand motions. And... there we go. I believe that was the color of your wallpaper that you liked. Yes, Norallie?
It's a shade off, but it's fine.
Okay, yeah, it's kind of a greenish, purplish, yellow, blue. A little bit of red. Okay, that's what I thought.
Green though.
Your, everything should be as you had left it. And, yes, so how long are you staying again, Norallie? Did you send word ahead that you were coming back? I know I wanted you to, but I wasn't quite sure when.
Well, I don't have a way to send stuff, because I didn't learn that. It's not that easy.
No,
but,
it's not.
No. Did Loki stop by at all?
Well, goodness, Norallie, I think it's about time that you get a meal. Look at you. You're so thin. It's like you've been just walking around the entire time.
Yeah, it's been a lot of walking. Grayson holds too much stuff to carry us.
I'll tell you what. You have questions, and I may have answers, but I also have food, and that's more important. Why don't you, you can, just settle in here, with your friend. Your friend's name, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Yeah, my name's Triddle, but most people call me Bright. So that's... I have other names too.
Oh, yes, well, don't we all? Yes. Yes, we certainly do. Goodness. Well then, Triddle, or Bright. Bright. I'll leave you two to get comfortable as much as you can. Everything I have is yours, which isn't much, so please don't get too comfortable. And, Norallie, just, when you're ready, whenever you're ready, as long as it's not in the next hour or two, just come down to the kitchen and I'll make sure there's some food for you. Alright, very well. If you need anything, just yell loudly and I'm sure Norallie will hear you. I'll see you later. And Mr. Halver, goes to the door, gives both a short bow, and Bright, gives a very gnomish, like a hello, goodbye, we're friends, sort of mixed, like...
Of course. Yeah. It's all of the above.
Yes. It's an aloha plus one.
So you can just throw your things anywhere. I'll clean it up later.
Yeah, okay.
And by later, I mean like really later.
Like never. I'm familiar with that kind of later.
Her room might not be clean right now.
So, this is an interesting place. I didn't expect him to have this nice of a place. It's definitely not your usual tiny hut. The magic is more like the Magnificent Mansion, although I don't usually see one arranged like this. So he's got some ability, or maybe he's just spent a lot of time collecting stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. He told me it was a tiny hut. And he said we can't have more than 9 people in here.
I don't know. I mean, we passed a lot of rooms.
Yeah, but
So
most of those rooms don't have. And
I guess
half of
that's-
those rooms lead to the wrong room.
Yeah, right. They're the wrong room. So if you go in there, it's the wrong room.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, no, like
in a magical
3
sort of
different
way.
doors lead to this room, but only like half the time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But this door always leads. So
Okay. So that's
the door
why.
we're good.
So it was really just because we're guests, right? I mean, if it wasn't us, like if we were here all the time, he'd just take the short door and hope, right? And then if it didn't work out, he'd take the next one. It would be shorter on average to do it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. Makes sense.
I don't know. I got lost in them.
This is actually pretty normal for the rules of magic. It makes complete sense to me. Okay, so how long? I mean, when should we expect to see him again? I mean, he just kind of disappeared, but we really kind of need to talk to him unless you want to go somewhere
Well,
and
he
look for your
said.
brother.
Well, he said 1 to 2 hours because he's gonna make food. Um, so we can get our stuff down. Down. We can take a break if you want because we've been walking a lot.
It's
I don't
true.
know if you realize, but town's really big. But we've been
Yeah.
walking the whole time, and we walked here.
Yeah. So I don't really need a rest, technically speaking. I mean, we can just wait and maybe we can talk. I mean, you can tell me more about how you met Mr. Halvor, since I thought your family like found him through like a recommendation and hired him, and there were interviews and there. I'm getting the sense that that's not how it worked. So
No,
maybe you can
that's
tell me more about how you met him and why he decided to help you. And
well, me and I, I don't know. Just me and my brother, well, we were just around. Not here. It was another part of town. But we were around, and we bumped into him, and he decided to help us out.
well, he must have recognized that you had magical talent.
Maybe I don't know. At the time, I was pretty young.
Do you ever add things?
Um, well, not him. Brother usually it's not bad things. It's not bad things. It's just things that we gotta do that other people don't want us to. But usually my brother does.
Okay. Well, I think I've learned a lot. I mean, I don't, everything, but I've learned a lot. And um, your brother, he was jealous, and he took a different way, right? He didn't learn the magic as easily as you did, and maybe he didn't want to put in as much effort to learn it the way I did. So he ended up learning it a different way, because there's always lots of ways. And
Yeah,
maybe that's why he got into more trouble. I don't know.
yeah, that's probably what happened. But hopefully Mr. Halver seen him and we can go talk to him, cause maybe he could help us find the others. Cause if he learns some different magic,
Yeah.
that'd be
Yeah, I mean, there are spells, and I'm learning them, but so there are spells I can use to find. I mean, we could find your brother, and we could find, if they're still alive, we could find Mordecai or Celine, or maybe even Tippa. But I mean, they're really hard spells, and most people don't learn them. I mean, most people who aren't even divination wizards don't learn them at all. And even those, it's hard because you need the special parts. You need the special crystal ball, and it'll show you. But it has to be just the right kind of crystal, and it's hard to make that crystal, and then it has to be shaped, and the whole process is just really hard and expensive. So it's kind of a hard spell to do. But maybe he has the parts, and then find them. I don't know. No, it's worth asking, and I bet he knows, even if he doesn't know him personally. I bet he knows who Dallas is. So I'm really looking forward to being able to ask him about that.
Yeah, he might know. He knows quite a few people.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't know, my brother might know because he also knows.
He might, if we can find him. Um, I just one person, and he was pretty easy to find. Although I'm not sure we could find our way away from him if we had to, but we found our way to him. So that's something at least. But the more people we have to find, the harder it is. So maybe he can
Yeah.
just tell us what they are.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Or maybe not. It seems like seems like there's some work that has to be done there.
Yeah, maybe. Hopefully not.
Okay. Well, I'll just start unpacking my stuff. I mean, not unpacking, but
Mhm.
untying things from the saddles and just getting a little comfortable. Maybe I'll spread out. I mean, does it have beds or things in it, or is it just like a room?
It's a room with a bed that Norallie was using.
Okay, well, I'll set up my bedroll and things. I'll just keep myself busy. And if Norallie wants to tell me more things, she can tell me more things.
Okay. So time will pass if you two wish to, it's like you're having a sleepover. You're gonna eat popcorn. You're gonna talk and bond.
No, we've been having sleepovers every day for 2 weeks.
That's true. You really have on the road,
That's special.
and when not being, rained upon, hunted by vampires. It's a very quaint time, actually. So
We've been having sleepovers 80% of the time.
see, just putting it that way, it makes a campaign just sound a lot more fun. You're not camping on the roadside. You're having a sleepover. All right. So after a while, Norallie, there's a little bell by your door, and it gives a little.
Vampire kid, unless his mom makes us.
Yeah, you specifically didn't invite him over to your birthday party, but your mom says you gotta. So the little bell by your door rings, Norallie, and that's the dinner bell.
Okay, time for food. Now, remember. I'll just lead the way. It's hard to explain which door to go. This way.
I'm paying attention.
Okay.
It's not too different from learning magic, so hopefully it won't take me as long to learn my way around. But if I get lost a couple of times, I'm not surprised.
All right. So Norallie, you exit your room, and Bright, like, yeah, I got this. I'm used to traversing, and you leave Norallie's room, and you enter the dining room. It's right outside.
Oh, well, that's convenient.
Oh,
So the
okay.
rooms, they move around? Just,
Sometimes.
that's really nice.
Only on Tuesdays and at night.
On Thursday, just don't even try. It's very hard on Thursday.
So there is a modest dining area. The furniture does look like it's secondhand. We're probably talking fourth or fifth hand right now. It's cozy. And the food smells really good. It is very Mask of Horns fare. Very spicy tiefling food. Has some seafood elements to it as well, so you're getting some salt and some spice.
I didn't specify. I guess I was thrown off because his gnomish was so good, but I forgot to remind him that it needs to be, food.
Oh!
I'll eat the fish and you can have the veggie.
Okay, I think that'll be okay.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. Yes, well...
It's okay. I never want to refuse a gift. I just don't want to eat the... See, our people, we can't eat animals, except if it's a real emergency, and even then we don't like it, because otherwise they wouldn't be our friends, and we get a lot... Actually, I wanted to ask you about stomping grounds, because the guy that we played with, he said you had stomping grounds, and I don't understand why you need stomping grounds in a city.
Oh, no, a lie. Were you talking to, He just sort of leaves it at that.
Well, he spotted me, and then Bright tried to teach him this game, but he was good, because he figured out the trick before she could do it. I just asked him if you were still in the same spot or not.
Well, you know that we're always on the way, is a good way of putting it. we're here, but we're always on the way. I'm a very well-traveled person, Bright. I may not look the part, but that's because a lot of the money that comes into this place is spent in a lot of different ways that aren't just on my own clothes or my own well-being. Of course, there are others such as the beautiful Miss Norallie here and her brother that need homes, and there are other wayward children.
This, as you call it, it's amazing. I mean, this is way more than the usual tiny hut, and it's just really really well made. So you have my great appreciation.
I am a man who is very well traveled, and I have studied things here and there. I've added little bits and bobs. I believe that you can appreciate the complexity of things that are here. Norallie, no offense to you, you are still a wonderful student. But a student you are. In fact, I meant to ask how your magical studies have gone, but oh my goodness, where are my manners? We're supposed to be eating, and because you two are splitting your dishes out, and so he begins eating, and as he does though, he's keeping his eye on both of you, not like squinting, but he's just like keeping his mouth full as you're there, splitting fish and chili peppers and stuff.
Well, I actually learned a lot of new things since we left. I guess it was rather bad. Since I left, I learned a lot of cool things. Mostly while I was hanging out with Bright and our other friends. But I probably shouldn't show you in the house.
Well, no, that's your potential is one of the reasons why we're here, of course, Norallie. That way, in case you had trouble closing the door, there wouldn't be problems. And it seems as if you've discovered the door and its various hinges, and I look forward to seeing just what can happen in that case. Yes, well, I suppose that I should come clean with you, Norallie. And no prestidigitation necessary. I don't mean to imply that. I did in fact have an encounter with your brother, or rather, your brother had an encounter with me. He stopped by a while ago, and he knocked, and the tail, of course. Let him in, and Norallie, he was your brother, but he wasn't your brother. How do I put this lightly? Maybe if I say it in a high-pitched voice that's light enough. He seemed like he was addicted to drugs. I believe that he was under the effects of Luciferus, and well, conversation happened. I was showing my concern because, of course, I'm Mr. Halver, and I'm supposed to care. And it just turned into a bit of a kerfluffle. And he'll use even whatever the gnomish take on kerfluffle is.
He knows better than that.
Norallie, I wish that I had better news, and it's not even just that he seems to have been under the effects of Luciferus. I could tell. There's something else. He was using magic, my dear. And I think we both know that your brother has never been one to be able to cast magic at all. I hope that was light enough. I am, his magic isn't, oh dear, how do I put this? It's borrowed. Yes, it's borrowed. Think like a library card, like the kind that I had you get because I wanted you to be able to be literate. he has a library card to magic, and that library card comes with a rental fee, let's put it. And I'm afraid that rental fee has put your brother under a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure. Yes, I'm very sorry. I wish I had better news. I mean, we were sitting almost where we are currently, and it. I had to ask him to leave. He was making a bit of a scene and embarrassing me in front of the furniture.
Well, do you know where he went then?
Yes, and also no. I think there's actually a gnomish word that means both.
We call it moo.
Moo? No, yes. I'm sorry.
Yes, of course.
Is that different from music?
Yeah, it's not the kind of moo.
Okay.
It's not the same.
So, in response to you, Norallie, moo.
Oh.
You're not going to ask me where he is, are you?
I mean, if you know, I would want to ask you. If you don't know, then there's no point in me asking.
He's kind of stirring his dish. It's not that I don't know, but...
Would you have an idea of where he is?
Yes, I have an idea of where he is.
Can you tell me that idea?
Yes. He went out to sea.
On a boat?
Hopefully. He was a bit strung out at the time, so I'm not sure, but I would hope that he could have come to his senses. And if not him, there were some others. They weren't able to get inside the house, but there were some others that were with him.
They didn't have tails.
What's that?
They probably didn't have tails to gnaw.
Well, your brother certainly did. He still has his tail. That's good, right? That's some good news, silver lining and all that. No, there was several other people. A woman named Thunderdrums. Oh, magnificent set of drums. You could just all day right on them. But I'm sorry, I digress. She was a pleasant enough lady, but she seemed enamored in other ways, and I was getting a bit of an odd feeling from another one. I forget her name. Oh, what was it?
Was it Beslerock or Lentilly Diver?
No, it was...
Grimhilder von
Allay? You know Grimhilder von Allay.
We met on the road. It was a few weeks ago, almost a month. But yeah, so Loki was traveling with them. It was before we met Norallie. Because you wouldn't have... Yeah, it was before we met Norallie. It was right when we met... Well, anyway, we had just lost someone, and we had just met someone, and they passed us on the road. And yeah, they were all traveling together. It was a whole group of them, and Loki was one of them. And I didn't know at the time how important he would be to Norallie, because I didn't know that we were going to meet Norallie. And yeah, so anyway, he went right by us. And yeah, he seemed, well, we had another friend who was with us, and they seemed to have the same type of magic, but we lost her too. So, yeah.
In your experience with Grimhilder, was she odd? And not in the sense that she could be even. I just mean...
Didn't really, to be honest, I was a little distracted because I had just lost a really good friend.
Oh.
And I wasn't, paying that close of attention to them. I only kind of, I mean, I only kind of saw them in passing. Um, so, uh, I mean, but yeah, they all seemed kind of odd, honestly. The only Beslerock was the only one who seemed halfway normal.
Oh well.
He was a dwarf. I don't know if you know him.
Not offhand. You don't see too many of them. A bit of a.
That's why he stood out.
Well, and just with the war going on and all. Wait, has the war started yet? I mean, just completely disregard that. The war hasn't started yet, and we are just.
Oh, now that's an interesting thing. That's really interesting. Really interesting that you would say that. I see that it's not just so. We have dimensions of space and of time, and I see how you have changed the dimensions of space, and now I see that you can change the dimension of time.
Oh,
That's pretty fancy. That's pretty fancy. So when we leave here, will we leave at the same time we came in? Because and he might starve to death.
Yes. You will experience no that.
Okay. I'm glad to hear that. But interesting. So that's very interesting. I would love to hear more about how it is that you're able to know about the war that hasn't started yet. That would be really interesting. Do you use divination spells, or is it more of an innate thing that you can do? Sorry, I'm not disregarding it at all.
No. Well, I'm a man of many talents. I've studied many things. I've been to many places, and you know what they say in divination school. I'll look into it, so I've looked into a great many things over the course of my many years. And
all the wizard schools have funny sayings like that.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And he narrows his eyes at you. Like, not like, but... I think I've seen you around somewhere before. And not in a divination way. I could do that anytime I wish. Not that I would. I have, professional standards and all. Norallie, you said that you met her. You met this Bright on the road, yes?
No, we met in a cave. About that, I went to the flower field, and there was fairies of sort.
Oh.
In a cave for a while.
Oh.
Yeah. Probably should have meant that. Yeah, that happened.
She's got this crystal stuck to her now. It's kind of weird, but it turns out that it's actually a good thing. It can nullify abjuration magic. It's pretty cool.
Norallie, can you can I see your crystal, please?
Yeah. Don't poke it.
He'll get up and that's, oh goodness, that's and Bright, you rescued her from this cave and from the people who did this to her.
Sort of, yeah. So it was a whole big thing. She was stuck in there, and we didn't know that at the time. We thought it was just like an ordinary mine collapse. So we went in there to rescue like miners, and then it turned out that there weren't any miners. It was actually like a whole big thing with the Fae. And the only person we found in there to rescue was Norallie, so we rescued her. And
you know about the Fae, them?
Yeah, we've
the
learned,
thems.
We've learned more about them than we wanted to know.
And the
There's also a big like metal dragon thing that's not really a dragon.
Yeah.
a metal thing, the dragon. Dragons are long gone. Dragons don't exist.
Yeah,
Well, no,
that's
that wasn't
not
a
technically
dragon.
true.
It
Yeah,
looked
so
like a
so
dragon,
there's
but it was
actually
made of metal.
2 dragons. So there's one dragon, maybe you've heard the name. His name is Sophonix. We've met him in person a couple of times. He's actually kind of the one who's responsible for our friends being missing. So we're not real happy with him, but he definitely exists. I've seen
Do you
him.
know
And then
Sophonic's is a dragon?
Are you
figured out.
asking?
Out of character, do Bright and Norallie know he's the dragon?
No.
No, we don't. I mean, I know he's a dragon though, because I figured it out. I figured it out before he revealed himself. Um,
Okay.
but and then there's
Confidence can do a lot.
yeah. And then there was the dragon that we met in the his name. I
Yeah,
have
but
it in
it
my
wasn't
notes, but
really
I
a
don't remember it
dragon.
right now.
It was like a machine dragon. It like had ears and such. And Jake
Yeah.
was like super intense about gears. I don't think that's related, but there's gears.
Oh, gears. Wait, gears?
Gears.
And flesh?
The dragon wasn't flesh. Jay talked about that stuff though.
The dragon was made of. I mean, I called him a drolem, but maybe that's not technically right. Maybe I was jumping to conclusions there. But yeah, it was a dragon, and it was made out of all salvaged bits and bobs and parts.
But
This big
It's kind of-
Lane.
Been trying to kill us, he would have been pretty neat, actually.
all right, but we're not talking flesh, right? We're not talking like
I don't
it
remember
flows
any
like sap
flesh.
and has a bunch of metal in it.
So flesh flowing like sap is a different thing that we've also seen. That was
Yeah, there was a tree that
yeah,
flesh.
but there wasn't metal there.
That ate,
It was
that
just a
ate
tree.
Jade.
Jade died, and so if you're seeing metal in it, that could be from Jade, because Jade had a lot of gears too.
were you
Not
an
like
Uct?
she was clockwork. So I've heard that. Yeah, so this is another thing. Yeah, so it's kind of funny. We're putting all these things together, but they're all coming from different time periods. It's super weird. Yeah, so no, this wasn't in Uct. This was near Green Shield. But I've heard that there's a tree like it in Uct, but it must have been after I left there, because I don't remember it.
Oh, well, yes, that's so you know how Uct is supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up there.
Currently Uct is not how it's supposed to be.
But I mean,
In the state of being, it's one or the other, and it's the other. Everything's not
that makes
forlorn.
sense. Okay, that's good. Would it be easier if you explained it in Gnomish? Because we have different words for nuances of things.
Yes, I think it would.
But it's gonna have to say it twice because I don't only know if you know.
And maybe I can. I mean, if I start to understand it, then maybe he'll start to understand it. And then I can
Yes.
explain it to you.
Norla, my dear, come here a moment.
Mhm.
And he'll kind of boops your nose and does a comprehend language on you. There we go. I believe that you can understand. He's speaking in Gnomish. I believe you can understand the words that are coming out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Okay. Just remember, you don't get to speak it. You just understand. But it's okay, because I think we understand the words that are coming out of your mouth in return. We just have to process the two channels differently.
Alright.
Well, yes. Tell you what, I'm going to get myself a. Before I tell you what's happening, I'm going to get myself a refresher here. And he gets up, and after booping you, Norallie, one moment, and he opens the door, and as he does, you can see kind of a kitchen beyond the dining room, and Bright, make a perception check as he comes back through.
Okay. So as he opens the door, I suddenly double over and I make a little whimper. I go, fattest member I can muster. And then I get back up and I rub my eyes and I roll a natural 20.
Okay. um. So Bright, you see where he went into a kitchen. As he's coming back out and the door is opening, there is some sort of a library. There's the shelves of books beyond, and just an immense collection of things that are catching your eye in the moment that you get to see him. And in looking beyond where Mr. Halver is, or rather where Mr. Halver was / is, it's one of those dual tense words that gnomes have. Because Mr. Halver is still here, but not as he was. Mr. Halver is walking through, and he has the appearance of a gnome. And you are seeing that on his staff, he is carrying a lantern, and inside the lantern is a blue flame.
That's interesting. Okay.
And this gnome looks a lot like someone that you know. Does this help, Bright?
I'm sorry, I'm a little dizzy. I got a, you know how sometimes when it's winter, you can touch something metal and you get zapped?
Yes.
Yeah. That happened in my brain just now.
Oh. Yes, and this person comes over to you and waves the blue light around you. Norallie, as he does this, you're like all over your body, you're seeing kind of colors light up, and you get that kind of soap bubble effect over your body. And everywhere this blue light is over you, Bright. Oh, yes, I can see a little remaining. Oh, you have some divination magic. Very interesting.
Quite a bit.
You have the gift then. You have the headaches.
It seems so.
You have the indecision.
I don't know. I guess so.
Right answer. Yes, one of the people that I go around and am is a fellow by the name of Dellis of the Blue Flame.
Yeah. I'm figuring that out. I didn't realize he was a gnome. It didn't say in his book.
Well, you know, sometimes it's easier to accept things that maybe you don't know everything about the person, and it's important
like
for...
how sometimes authors go by their initials if they don't want people to know who they are.
Yes, exactly like that, except different.
Of course.
And so, well, I am here I am, one of my guises as I travel here and there, and I investigate things, and well, I investigate magic. You may have read my books about such things.
I actually brought one. I brought one with. I don't think I have. I didn't bring it to dinner, but it's in my room.
Oh, well then, I suppose you'd love an autograph or perhaps some errata?
Yeah, if you have any, yeah, of course.
Yes, I would love to. As a guest of Norallie's, Norallie, you are definitely my favorite tiefling. You're yes, well, I don't mean offense to your brother, but you're definitely my favorite tiefling.
That's okay, I won't tell.
Norallie, I hope this isn't too much of a shock that I have been known to put on some other guises and to go and try and enlighten people and help people out as much as I can in a lot of different places. And you're seeing me in one such... it's like changing clothes. You know, it's as if I put on a butler uniform and I become a butler.
Oh, I did that last week.
Yeah, it didn't really work all that well for us.
Oh.
Yeah, because we need stupid tickets to put a donkey on a boat.
Stops and considers this, and well, yes, I'm Uh, well, surprise. If you had particular questions, then perhaps. Well, do you have to be anywhere?
I mean, yeah, I would prefer to be anywhere.
This is one such place.
Okay, then. I think we're
Uh,
in good shape then.
Bright, several anywheres converge on this very location.
Um, so, I mean, we have, we have so many questions. I mean, I'm really surprised actually to find out that you're the same person as Mr. Halver. That had occurred to me. So I'm a little surprised, and now I mean the geometry certainly is making a lot more sense. And so when I mean your kitchen and your library are the same, is it because I mean I hope you're not cooking the books.
Oh, you! He points his lantern tip staff at you. That was a good one. I'll have to remember that.
So, when when you went into the kitchen and the library was behind it, you were going into a different time period, weren't you?
No, not a different time. Just simply a different place. I mean, if you think about it, we're all from different times at all points in time, because we're always our current selves and never our past. And we could possibly be our future, but it just gets very convoluted. But no, I've studied magic for a very long time, and I just have a penchant for helping as I can. You see, I really love this place, this area, and there are beautiful people in it, like Norallie, and yes, even her rapscallion brother. I'm putting that lightly on purpose, although I think Norallie, you're gonna have to toughen up sometime, because your brother's kind of a bad egg right now.
Who knows, sir?
Well, you hope that you can help as many people as you can. And I've tried, Norallie. You tell Bright that I've tried.
He's tried.
Thank you. And I've tried over the years to help and help. Things just... There's only so much one can do without really overly exerting themselves and maybe tipping the balances in bad ways. So I've tried to be different people. I've tried to be in different locations. I've tried, and I think for the most part I've been successful. Look at dear Norallie. Look at the beautiful young woman she's become. I mean, if we just disregard that crystal shard sticking out of her chest and the fact that her brother is not doing so well and she doesn't have a lot of money and...
Well, we have more money than we've had for a long time, actually.
Oh,
We're
that's
doing
good.
okay for money.
Magic items.
Then you're getting better, and I'm very glad, Norallie. This is what I've hoped, and I've appreciated all the years of study you've put in with me, and all the favors that you've asked. Getting news, and maybe like lurking outside a window, or investigating what's inside someone's pocket, because some people have bad things that aren't supposed to be there, and so you've helped me immensely.
They have good things.
Well, yes, and of course, being such a good girl that you are, were able to keep those, and I hope that helped. But yes, I've just tried to do as much as I can for as many people as I can, Bright, and I felt that I just had to come clean and reveal that I am in fact Delis of the Blue Flame, along with Mr. Halver.
So, when he gnomified himself, did he look more foresty or more rocky?
Rock.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so I mean that's a pretty wonderful story, and yeah, Norallie is actually pretty great. We actually didn't get along very well at first. We had we had an accident. But
You said you're on fire, so you're respected, so it's okay.
yeah, but he actually he turned out better for it. He grew wings and everything, so it turned out okay. Um, but yeah, so I mean, she's really come a long way even since we first met her. She's learned so many new spells, and she's when you talked about opening the door and closing the door, she's getting pretty good at that. We actually did a lot of practice with that in the around the flower fields, where they have where they have their
Really
funny
hard to
magic
choose
there.
magic, 'cause, then it's not
So
me, it's everything else happening. I didn't
Oh.
really do that much, and everyone's like, let's stay here like 2 weeks. No.
we were there a long time. It was kind of a bummer, but anyway, yeah. So I mean, we've both really come a long way, and I think really saw something in her, and I think you saw something good. So
Yes.
yay for that. And I'm glad you're turning out to be so nice. That was I didn't know what I'd find. I mean, I just had a name. I didn't really and a book, of course. I didn't really have anything else. So I mean, you seem to have some idea of what's going on with me, and it's kind of funny. I got zapped by this tree. You
Mhm.
seem to know about it, although you didn't know where it was, so that was weird. But I got zapped by the tree, and I didn't have any brain things for a while, and then I did.
Well, I believe that there's an entire slew of questions that I could possibly answer for you, my dear Bright. I just, this is. You all have learned a lot about what's going on, and I hope that you can appreciate the depth of that knowledge. And if not, then maybe I can help you do so. Um, well, I'll tell you what. I've had a bit of a revelation here with you all. I've broken some bread, and we've reestablished contact. However, I am needed in another location here shortly, and if I don't go there soon, then something may occur that will be bad.
Yes,
And
I'm familiar with that.
Norallie, I'll trust you to clean up the dishes and to show Bright. And Bright, if you require your own room, then you can have the
No,
one
it's
next
fine.
to Norallie's.
I like staying with Norallie, actually. It's we've kind of gotten used to it.
And he's kind of like creeping back to the door, like, that's very good. Anything else? And he kind of opens it up, and he's like
Nope.
half sliding.
Oh, you can go. Bye. Thank you for so much. Your
He
dinner's
waggles the
wonderful,
staff,
and
and the staff kind of like,
What
also
time
your
will you be back?
yes. And door closes.
Okay.
You've gotten that answer before.
It's usually anywhere between 3 days to 6. If he says maybe, it's usually like 2 weeks. If he says
Okay.
no, it's usually like 5 minutes.
Oh, that makes sense. Of course it does.
So you're getting
The-
gnomish
the
lessons this
times
whole
wrap
time.
around. Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like we're gonna have a couple of days that we can go and look for your brother. And he's given us a lot of clues, actually.
He got on a boat though. He'd have to
Yeah.
figure out which boat he got on. Dylan,
So
we'd have
I'm
to
really
get on a boat, and that means we have to actually buy the tickets because you can't put a donkey on a boat without tickets.
yeah. We might
Life is cruel.
actually might not want to bring Brayson with us for that. I don't know, but there's a lot of I don't know. I mean, I'm starting to think that we came here, and I'm glad I met Mr. Halver, who's also Dallas. That's so weird. But anyway,
Yeah.
now that
Bright-
I've met him,
Investigation for me.
okay, I'll go ahead and roll this one for real.
Oof.
Say, it's 25. That's good.
Nice.
Could have
Okay.
gotten if I didn't roll it.
I will I will implant a thought in your mind here when we as we wrap up.
Sure. Anyway, there's so many. I mean, now that we've met him, I still think that there's. I mean, we don't want to just leave him behind because he hasn't answered our questions yet. I'm thinking that we're probably going to end up having to get on a boat. I mean, all this time I thought that. I don't know. I've just. I mean, so many things are coming to Mezamaska from outside Mezamaska. We have the vampires coming from the Shadowheart, and we have the Fae coming from all over, and there's this tree in Uct that, I mean, I think we should take care of those trees, because we know that you can fight them. Nobody else can fight them but you. So, we know that we want you to, I mean, you're going to have to lead that. And there's so many things we have to do, and so many places we have to go, and I just think we're going to have to go sailing soon.
Well, let's get the dishes done. If my brother gets done.
So,
He's not
does
gonna
Mr.
do it, so I gotta.
mind if we use magic for things like dishes?
No, he usually encourages it, but I can't really do the cleaning one.
Oh, okay. Well, give me a minute, because
I
there's
tried,
probably a lot
I
of
broke
things.
it once, but I know how to fix dishes, so really that's what I asked.
Okay, well, I'll, what are there? Is it like a banquet, or is it just like our plates?
It's just it's your plates, and I mean, there's a kitchen that you could just take the things to.
Okay. I'll prestidigitate them, clean them.
Okay.
It's so much easier.
It's a really useful spell. You should
Yeah.
learn it.
I might try to, but there's some other ones I want to learn. So, maybe I'll get to that one eventually.
Okay. Well, yeah. I guess it's been I don't know, it's been a kind of a long day.
Yeah, we walked around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We had dinner. Probably good.
What's the actual, like, what time did we come in here?
Oh, geez. You had camped out so that you would be arriving in the city sometime in the morning. So over the course of things, over walking through the city and then waiting a couple hours for the meal, I don't know. I'll say it's like 6 p.m.
Okay. And then we were here for a couple hours too, so I don't know. Maybe we don't need to go out tonight unless you want to go out and look for trouble. We could go out and see if there's vampires.
Nah, I'd rather not search for vampires, because we're nice and safe right here. So,
Yeah.
maybe we can get some sleep in the morning.
We're also really strong right now. It seems like it would be a good time to go out and.
Well, he didn't say no, so he's not gonna be back at least tonight. Maybe. I just want to be here when he gets back. That way, missing.
I'm just thinking we can use Herbert. We just walk around the streets and we use Herbert to scan and see if he finds anyone he doesn't like, and then we'll know who they are.
We can do that.
I've got a new spell.
He knows the drill.
I've got a new spell where you don't have to keep Herbert away from me. I can change myself so that Herbert doesn't smell the icky.
Okay, that's good, because he doesn't have to go a lot, and I told him not
Yeah.
to. But,
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
it's in his nature.
He's still training.
Nature. So, that'll be nice. Okay. So
All right,
nice too.
that's your plan then. Is when we resume, you'll want to just see what there is to see in the nightlife of Mask of Horns.
I'd like to, but we don't have to. I mean, but I think that would be a good idea.
Okay. Then we can do so, as it seems like you have a little bit of time. You have a place that, I mean, bright, presumably, this is a safe area, kind of with its convoluted magic system. Norallie seems to know her way around, and you might be able to figure it out. But this seems like a relatively safe base of operations, even if it is kind of in a throwback district of the city.
Yeah. It's not like it's dangerous. It's just a little seedy.
Yeah.
But I've been in worse places, and I mean, I had to travel a lot before I came here, and I've been in a few worse places, although I didn't stay there very long. But I didn't have a place like this to stay either, so yeah.
All right then. I think we'll call the session here, and I had a ton of fun with you all. Thank you so much for an amazing session. And we have a couple. I guess in its own way, we have some downtime coming up for the two parties to do what you're thinking about doing. So if you each presume that you have time ahead of you, probably more of a short term, not like a month, but if you have a couple days ahead of you, you might want to plot and plan what you'd be doing with this time, and we might be able to resolve that using some downtime mechanics and narration. So, all right, well, everyone, this was great. Let's go raid Gathering of Nerds, because they are live right now. So for all of you who are out there watching in the audience, Lethality Complex plays a one-shot game that has a rotating prompt and a rotating DM every week, and they also play at different levels. So tonight they're playing a game revolving around meta, and they're playing level 10 characters. So let's get the raid together. Raid Gathering of Nerds, and go say hi to them. You don't need a passport, even though we're going to Australia, so yay for that. Where it's winter, or it's getting to be more wintry. Volvo, hey, thanks for being here. And Volvo, I'm sorry I didn't put your name up on the screen, but I think you know what you did. Lots of doodles. Yeah. If you're on our Discord, go check out the doodles. All right, everyone.
I'm gonna go to bed. So.
Oh, yep.
Okay.
Good.
Slash me jumps over a fence.
Yay. GG.
Good night.